Hey everyone, welcome back to Imagination Tech. My name's Jeff. So there has been recently a surge in 4-inch long-range drones. You've seen the original one from Dave C, and there has been some from Flywoo, who started it all based on Dave C's. It was a collaboration with Dave C, I believe. And after that, there was one from Diatone, from Gep RC, and from other one I can't remember right now. On this channel, we've also looked at the TimBurger version 1 frame from locally, also based on the Dave C design, but with a couple of modifications. Most of these builds are really meant for doing long range with a lithium-ion battery, a 3000 milliamp hour 4S. But what if we make something that's a little bit more into freestyle, but still can go long range if you wanted to? Right, so that is what we're going to be building right now. So stay tuned and roll the intro. So this is the TimBurger version 1 4-inch long-range frame, and I did a review and assembly of this frame a couple of weeks ago, so do check that out. I'll put a link in a card and also down in the description. In a nutshell, this is a great frame. It was based off the Dave C long-range design, and it can take either a 20 by 20 stack, 16 by 16 stack, or a diamond-shaped whoop or toothpick style flight controller, and it also has a mounting 20 by 20 mounting here at the back, so it's a really good flexible frame. Now there's a V2 already out now, and I believe it's being sold at a discount, so do get in touch with Tim, who created this frame, and get your frames from him. So for our flight controller, we're going to be using this HappyModel Crazy F411 toothpick flight controller, and it is a whoop style board, 25 by 25 I believe, and it's mounted like this in a diamond shape, which is great because the TimBurger frame can take a toothpick style flight controller. This goes up to 11 amps I believe, 11 or 12 amps, so it's more than enough for what we need. I also have this prototype HappyModel F4. Where is that? Okay, so here it is. This is an F425. It is a 25 amp flight controller. It is a lot bigger than I was initially planning. I think this is the mounting pattern is 20 by 20, but as you can see, the board goes way beyond those borders. So it's actually more similar to a 30 by 30 stack than it is to a 20 by 20 stack, because I believe this on the long side, it's already 30 millimeters long, or even 35 millimeters long. So it's a very, very big board. So let's see if we can fit this into our frame. Each ESC that this one has goes up to 25 amps. So that is really a lot of power for a 4-inch drone. But I think that's going to be great if we're going to be using our high kV 3850 kV motors on this 4-inch for acro or freestyle. This one is a great option. I believe it's just like $40 for $40 or $45 for this crazy F411 Pro. There are lots of other flight controllers you can use, so again, it really depends on what you prefer. So anything like around 11, 12, 13 amps should be okay for a long range build. For our camera, we have a Runcam Phoenix 2 Nano, and this is going to be really great because it is a nano sized camera. You can fit it into a larger quad because it has an adapter, but we are just going to use it as a nano camera. And this one has really, really great optics. It has 1000 TV lines. It has a 1/2 inch sensor, and it really performs really great in low lighting conditions. So even if you are out until dusk or early in the morning of dawn, then this performs well in low light, and it's very, very comparable to the Runcam Micro Eagle series, the Micro Eagle 1, 2, or 3. So this is going to be a really, really great camera, and it's also not too bad on the wallet because this is even cheaper than a Runcam Micro Eagle. I did a preview of this camera, so check that out. I'll put a link in the video, in the description. I have a video about this, as well as our RCInpower motors. which is this one. Gave this a quick look, made it a video, and both the camera and these RCInpower motors are available from Drone Hub PH on Shopee. That is Andre Patrick Martinez's Shopee shop. All right, so this is a really premium motor. Look at that. It has a really nice gunmetal design, gunmetal and orange design. The magnets feel really coggy, really nice. Wires are nice silicone, and really looks really good. So comes in a box like this, you know. So just in comparison, if you're looking for a budget option, I also have this. This is a HappyModel as well. So this is a HappyModel EX1404. Now the magnets are also pretty strong, pretty good. It doesn't look as premium as, I mean, just look at that. Even the bell design, you know, it doesn't look bad, but yeah, you can really tell just by looking at it which is the premium motor and which is the budget motor. But doesn't mean that this is not going to perform well. In fact, this is better for long range because this is low kV. It's 2750 kV, so we can put 4S on here and
that's all, folks.
Bi-blade props, and that's going to last forever, especially with a lithium-ion battery. The wires are also silicone, but they don't feel as good as the RCInpower motors. It's good, just doesn't feel as premium as the RCInpower motors, which is quite expected. I forgot how much this is. I'll just post, you know, down here below how much I got this for. So here's the AKK FX3 VTX, and this has a MMCX connector, and it is I believe this is 20 by 20 stack. So this should fit really nice here at the back. We'll just put it here at the back, and it also has buttons. I believe it has this button, so at least I think we can change the channel without having to go to smart audio, because we you know, our UARTs are going to be a premium because we're also going to put a GPS on this, which is this BN180 GPS module. It's really small and it fits here nicely at the back of our frame. So an alternative would be the Rush Tank Mini Ultimate, I believe, which also has a 20 by 20 stack. So, but this is definitely cheaper, and it's available on a lot of different stores. So anyway, I'll put a link to all of these parts in the description below. For now, let's get started on our build. So the first thing I installed on this TimBurger V1 frame is my Runcam Phoenix 2 Nano. In a nutshell, it's 1000 TVL, has great low light performance, and has a 1/2 inch sensor. It's nano size, but it has a micro adapter, and you would need that to screw it onto this onto the included 3D printed mounts of this frame. I put some rubber gummies here, or silicone gummies. And it did not come with any gummies in the package. It did not come with any M2 screws or hex nuts or anything. So maybe because this is a budget VTX, but I wish you know, they would come with their own hardware. If this is going to be your first build or one of your first builds, you probably would not have any spare parts. But yeah, thankfully I did. So normally you would mount this here on the back. And we'll just do the first two ones. So on the V1 frame, the two of the screws on the back stack are, you know, you can still put them in when you've already assembled the whole thing, but you need to wiggle it and flex the carbon a little to get those in, and they are not going to come out because this bottom plate is in the way. So you could probably disassemble the whole thing first and put in the screws, or just, you know, wiggle and force them in. Now, the original Dave C design was meant just for 16 by 16 flight controller or stack here in the center. So if you have anything bigger like a 20 by 20 or a diamond shaped flight controller, it's going to fit. But you know, see here, these 4 holes, these are for the standoffs. Now, if we're going to be using this F425, it's going to cover those holes completely. So that's why I had to remove the standoffs. And even if we're using this diamond-shaped, whoop-shaped, whoop-style flight controller, there's the Crazy B F411. It has no problem with the front standoffs, but it's going to cover these back screws. So you either have to file your standoffs or just not use them completely. This one is around 6.2 grams. This one is around 7.5 grams. But if you're using a Whoop style board, you're still going to need these 3D printed mounts that goes here on the side, and this has around a 2-gram penalty. So that makes it this combo even heavier than this 7.5 gram board. What I'm thinking of doing is to move this VTX here on top of the flight controller, and we can use one of these screws and put our standoffs here instead of the stack. We can use that for our standoffs. So next up, we're going to install these RCInpower Smoox Plus 1404 motors. It comes with screws, thankfully, unlike the VTX. So it comes with screws, a short screw and a long screw. Now the long screw is too long for this arm, but the short screws are just right. So the TimBurger came with these TPU arm bumpers, but the holes are slightly wider, so it didn't fit the motors. So I'm just not gonna bother with them. What I'm going to do is to install these motors on the rest of the arms, and then I'll cut this wire to length. Now we've got all of our components installed. We have our camera here, our motors, our GPS, and also our flight controller. So we now can see a basic idea of how it's going to look like. I've already wrapped the motor wires with some cloth tape. This frame was meant for a TBS M8 V1 or V2 GPS unit, but I only had the BN180. You could solve that with a little bit of tape or a zip tie. And I also didn't have an MMCX antenna, so I'm just using this MMCX to SMA adapter, which came with a VTX. And you can also, if you prefer not using this the TPU mount, you can also just screw this SMA antenna in and screw it here. But that would result in a straighter, vertically oriented antenna. So I preferred to have it at an angle, so I just threaded that in, and I'm just going to connect this later to our VTX. We still need to trim all of the wires for our camera, our VTX, and our GPS before we solder them in onto our flight controller, so that's what we are going to do now. On the bottom side, I've also attached the crossfire antenna, and I haven't figured out, maybe I'm just going to mount this here on the underside, or maybe do it like this. I've trimmed the wires, and they're now just, even for my VTX, I've already trimmed the wires, and I just need to pre-tin all of these wires, pre-tin all the solder pads, and then I'm just going to solder all of this thing here. Just going to show you everything that's where everything is wired to. So our camera is wired to ground, positive 5 volts, and video in, and this is going to be going to our VTX, and this is for smart audio, video out to the VTX. This is 9 volts and ground. Now for our GPS, it's connected to RX and CX2. It's a little bit buried under here, and also connected to 5 volts and ground. And our crossfire receiver is also wired up to RX1 and TX1 ground, and the 5 volts are also somewhere here. So this F425 board is a little bit, it's really tight, and you can't even read the silk screen printing labels on each pad. This is basically it. So we just need to connect our VTX here and connect our antenna. By the way, so this configuration for our 4-inch TimBurger 4-inch frame, we can consider this like something like a 4-inch Freestyle configuration, because we have a more powerful ESC, more powerful motors. These are 3850 kV. That's why I also put in a relatively shorter range. I mean it's a shorter antenna, because I don't expect to be flying this a really long range, because it's not going to be very efficient. But yeah, so we're just going to put this into BetaFlight and configure this up. hope you followed along in this build and built yourself a 4-inch freestyle drone or a long-range drone, depending on what your preference is. This video has been long in the making, but there's been several production delays. Been busy with the house renovations and at work. Yeah, and I've also actually lost this TimBurger frame, this TimBurger quad. So I need to. It's such a good quad that I want to build one, another one for myself. I still have the HappyModel F425 flight controller as well as the HappyModel motors. So I'm just waiting for Timothy to send me another TimBurger frame so I can build one. All of the parts are going to be in the description, whether it's the freestyle config or the long range config. So it's up to you. Well, up to you to choose which parts you want to put in your 4-inch quad. Some of those are affiliate links, so at no cost to you, they do help the channel a lot. So I hope you found this video useful or at least entertaining. And as always, make sure you click on that like button and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. And as always, keep building and keep flying.